Oh,
There we go.
now we're going.
I
You see
see
it?
Yeah, it says live on Facebook.
Okay, there we go.
Hey, success.
There we go.
Ahí vamos, ahí vamos.
We got it. We got it going. We got it going. So everybody that's watching live, we got this. I'm so psyched. I'm super psyched. I'm here with my man Nacho, Ignacio Lopez.
Hey, Rafa.
How's it going, Nacho? Thanks for your time.
Yeah. No, so good to be here. So good to be here, man. This is awesome to spend time with you and just get more time in the social media, you know?
Yeah.
Spread the message of Happybuddhaguru.
Yeah. And that's one of the first things I want to talk to you about, because what we're doing in this podcast is we get the ego out of the way first, right?
Right.
So not to let it creep in right afterwards. And so I really wanted to talk to you because I'm so, for people that don't know this, the first thing that I gotta say is you have to go to Happybuddhaguru, right? No, it's Happybuddha.guru.
Right, the Happybuddha.guru. And it's the same on Instagram. It's at Happybuddha.guru, I believe, yeah.
And what Nacho does with Happybuddhaguru is, I mean, it's just amazing. It's the details in the jewelry that you
appreciate it. Thank you.
And I appreciate we've been in the mastermind before, and so I like seen when you share, you know, when you started doing the 3D printing and you got this machine and you've learned all this on your own, basically, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you tell us a little bit about how it started and like you and how it started and all?
Yeah. So Happybuddhaguru started years and years ago. You know, everybody goes through divorce, and you know, sometimes the financial implications of divorce, at least in mine, left it to where, you know, I didn't have very much. I had about $500 to $600 after child support, daycare support, and alimony, right? So I had about $500 to $600 a month for all my expenses. And so when I call that garage sale broke, right? Because you can't afford to go anywhere else but a garage sale.
I love that.
Your ass is garage sale broke, man. And yeah, you're not gonna go and spend, you know, $12 on a t-shirt at Target. Hell no. Yeah, that's too much money. So at any rate, and I at that time, you know, post divorce, as most people experience, I was depressed, right? And so I was on some antidepressants, and even though I was on the antidepressants, it didn't make me happy. I felt really flat, you know. Mm-hmm. I was on Prozac, I believe, and so at any rate, when your garage sale broke, I went to a garage sale, and hold on, let me go get him. I found this guy. Can you see? There you go. That's the original one, right?
Yeah.
And you know, for obvious reasons, it just makes you smile. You know, it's a reflexive thing, right? Yeah. And
beautiful.
And it was just something that it was like water on a plant that was almost dead. You know, like if it didn't get water in the next couple of days, it wasn't gonna make it, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it felt on my soul. You know, was just the effect of seeing that and having it sparked that happiness. You know, and you know, it was funny because at that time I attributed it to this thing, right? You know, but this is a piece of wood that has just been carved very skillfully, right? Mm-hmm. And in truth, what it does is it's been carved in such a way that it triggers something in you, right? Deep down inside of you, and it lets you know that thing in you that so loves to be happy is still alive, right?
Yeah.
And
I love that.
And so even if you don't, what am I trying to say here? because I had no relationship to that. I was just like in the desert, and like the Hebrews in exile, man. I was out in the desert, and then all of a sudden to see that face and to have that shine up like that, it really, really, it brightened up and it changed my life, and it really put me back in the seat. And so now what I say is that, insofar as Happybuddhaguru is concerned, how that came about, the name Happybuddhaguru, actually, maybe I should back up for just a minute.
I got all the time in the world, man. So
yeah. So I've always enjoyed jewelry, right? Whether it's bracelets or pendants, and there was this one type of jewelry that involved a dog tag. And if you go to the website, let's see, I think can I pull one out of my butt here real quick? Hold on. Yes, I can.
All right. I'm still loving that garage sale broke thing. I'm ready.
Yeah, you ain't just broke, your garage sale broke, man. You can't afford to do shit.
And then you're like, and then in the garage sales, you're like, hey, this is 50 cents. I'll give you a quarter for it,
man. Right?
Have you ever seen that movie of, I don't know if you ever heard of American Splendor? They show that, you should watch it. They show like he's buying a vinyl record, and he's like how much is this? 50 cents. And he's like, I'll give you 25 cents for it. And the guy's like, really? You're gonna like, and then he's like, you're not gonna give me?
Sorry, I'm garage sale broke. So at any rate, this is so I had been into this one, I really like dog tags, right? Okay. And there was, King Baby was a company that was producing stuff. But they would do like skulls and crossbones. Can you see that?
Yeah,
I know my fingers in a little bit. Now on the back, it's got Happybuddhaguru on the back like that. And
awesome detail.
Right. Thank you. And then I use the because it's called the Happiness Warrior Dog Tag and Spiritual Compass, right? Because you're a happiness warrior. Like, you're not gonna take discord or hatred or sadness. You're going to come in and you're going to keep on moving the community along to happiness, right? And then it's a spiritual compass because of that thing that we talked about earlier. That thing that gets fired up in you when you look at it, it's reminding you that it's there. And if you keep something like this on you, it's much more likely to at least at some time of the day. Like I remember the other day, I was really down. I was upset, maybe even a little depressed. Just because I'm got Happybuddhaguru doesn't mean I'm happy all the time. And nobody's happy all the time.
Nobody's happy all the time. Nobody's happy.
But how quickly you get back, and what you put in place in your life to get you back continually and bring you back to a more positive and conducive mindset, more conducive to your own goals, right? We operate better when we're happy, right?
Yeah.
But so at any rate, so there was a lot of skulls and crossbones and stuff like that were available, and
oh yeah, I
like crowns and fleur de lis and all this kind of stuff, and I wanted something happy, and I couldn't, and I was like, somebody's got to make one, right? And so I went looking real quick on the internet, and I couldn't find anything that was as happy as this one that I'd found. And then I looked around. The more I looked, it was like most of the items were pretty inexpensively made, and they looked like your scary drunk uncle rather than Happy Buddha. I'm serious, Hey, So any rate, so being a sculptor, I was like, okay, well, let's put this together then, because I was really just making it for me, and it was just like man, I like King Baby. I have to give it up. I really love their work. I mean, their workmanship is so beautiful, right? I aspire to that level of craftsmanship that they have, and I love their stuff too. It's
Who is
absolutely
that? Who is that?
King Baby.
King Baby.
Yeah, yeah. And so at any rate, yeah, but they didn't have anything that was very happy. And this was, you know, this was my first piece, you know. And
yeah, you know, you're right, because I'm thinking, and yeah, I don't know why would that have, why would it be that, why would that be the case? If I don't,
why are skulls so popular in society right now?
Yeah, yeah, it's always like
yeah, it's more like in a, if you're talking about it like in a, as a strategic move, skulls are like a fearful dominance, right? Which is so not the Buddhist path, right? Fear and dominance are not anything near to what Buddha came to reveal, you know. And keep in mind also that Buddha was a man, you know. Yeah. But at any rate, so then I started it just kind of lived as a thought for a real long time, and then I was like, I was working in the electricity industry, and I'd become I was actually in 2013 I was the top salesman for NRG/Reliant. Oh, wow. In the large industrial commercial sector, and they sent me to Hawaii, and then as soon as I got back, they laid me off. Like 2 months later, they laid me off. Really? And I was like, thanks, guys. Thanks for the confusing ride.
One of those things that happen, right? You're like, what the man?
So, but you know, I was very grateful for my time in the electric utility industry. But sometimes when you're meant to do something else, even if you excel at the thing that you're doing, it doesn't feel fulfilling. And you know, I got to the point to where, you know, I would rather, you know, clean your barbecue grill than talk to you about electricity. I just didn't want to do it anymore, you know. Yeah. And so I think you know, it just allowed me to find my passion, you know. And so when I was there, though, it allowed me to make enough money to where I could pay someone to, you know, what I did was I sculpted the original. It's the original little dog tag. It was probably about like 7 inches tall and maybe 3.5 inches wide, you know, to the specifications here, you know. Okay. And I sculpted it, and then I had someone in Dallas. It was a company called SculptCAD, I believe it was, and they don't do this work anymore, but they were the ones that originally scanned my Happy Buddha, this one, and they also scanned the bead that I do, and
so you sculpted it and then you give it to them.
Yeah, I give it to them, and then they scan it, and then I have it digitally. So now I can take that and shrink it down. I use I had to learn to use, last year I learned to use a program called Rhino 3D, and I took a course with this guy, Gary Dawson. He's a really awesome guy, and he, I learned enough from him to be able to produce my own product, because that was a problem. So I was having other people produce my product, and every time I would make an order, the price would go up by 15–20%. And it was just like, you know. And then one time I made an order, and it took like 8 months to fulfill. And so, you know, I was like, in 8 months, I think I could learn to do it in 8 months. I wish I'd have known it was going to take that long, because I would have started then. You know?
You're right, but you did. Wait, I'm a little. I want to make sure that I'm in the correct time frame, right? So it's like that happened, but you knew how to sculpt beforehand, right? Because
yeah, no, sculpture was something that just kind of came naturally to me as a child.
Yeah, because what you do, that's not just you just picking up something and being able to do that. Like not a lot of people are able to do that, right?
Right. No, but you know, but there's things that we have aptitudes for, and you know, like think about Mozart being able to go to church, listen to the sacred music, and then go home and write it out note for note and play it at 5 years old. That's you know, I'm not comparing myself to Mozart. Mozart's an extreme of the conversation that all of us have some kind of gift.
Yeah, but you have a gift, you have a gift, brother. Yeah, because that is not something that, I mean.
Yeah, sculpture was one of mine, and you know, and here's the thing though, is that in my life, my parents, you know, they were very good Catholics, and they sent us all to private Catholic schools. Could barely afford to, but it was something that was just very important to my father, Ignacio Lopez, Papa Nacho, and but it was very important to him. What was I getting on here?
I'm sorry if I interrupted. You were talking about after the 3D you were like, I can learn this in 8 months, right? Like
right.
It would have taken that long. And then that's why I started interrupting it. So
but what I was getting on was that my parents sent me to school, to this Catholic school, and it was the best school in town for sure, Central Catholic down in San Antonio. Wonderful college preparatory high school. But they didn't, at that time, they didn't even offer a single art class, right? Mm-hmm. And for someone who has strong artistic leanings, even though, you know, all of my brothers and sisters had been through that school in Providence, which was right next to it, there was, it wasn't the best choice for me, you know? But you know what? Hindsight's 20/20, right? I'm grateful for all of it.
Yeah.
But so sculpture's just been one of those things that I was, you know, always good at. I remember when I was a kid, you know, were you in Boy Scouts?
No, I wasn't, but I was always in baseball, and like my thing was always baseball. Growing up,
when you're in Boy Scouts, I think that's when I really first realized that I had something. Actually, the first time was in 2nd grade, and I did a little sculpture of a dinosaur with my clay, you know, and everybody's like, "Oh, look at Ignacio's dinosaur!" I got a lot of attention for doing good art, and so it felt good, right?
Yeah, you know, I have a cousin he's an artist, and I remember one time we were sitting down together, the 3 cousins, right? I was one of them, and 2 other, and we were just drawing, and you know, I remember that point where everybody finished drawing, and then I saw their drawing, and I was like, okay, this is not for me. I don't know how to draw, right? There's no freaking way.
I need a little bit more time to develop my skills better than I am. You know, but that's one of the things that I've been discovering. But you know what? Maybe that should come up to another point here. So anyway, bringing it back around. So you get a scanned product from an agency, right? And then you can take that into a program called Rhino, and I can put my HBG logo on it, and I can, you know, like in the case of these beads, I have to actually, let me show you, because I got some right here. I'm glad I brought these home. I wasn't going to, but I did.
Yeah. And do you have your shop somewhere else, or do you have it right there in your?
I work with another jeweler here on Brookside. His name is Landon Thomas. Landon is an awesome custom jeweler, and he has helped me understand the actual physical production a whole lot better. You know, how to cast silver, and you know, how to finish it, how to solder, how, you know, these things, because and the reason that you have to know all that is because, see, if you, so here's like, I haven't used, actually I have. Well, this is a 20 millimeter bead. Let's see, I'm trying to get it in the front of the, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Those are
this is the biggest one I've made so far, right? And so I take that 3D model, like I sculpted this, right? This whole thing like this, but it was large. It was the size of a baseball, right?
Okay.
And then I had it scanned. And so then when I print out the 3D printers, so if I made this and I made it solid, hold on here, I made it solid, it would be, right now it's about, I think, an ounce, maybe like 24 grams, I think, and an ounce is more like 28. But if it was solid, I have to hollow it out. And so how I do that is you take it into Rhino and I hollow it out, and then I have two pieces. And so I have to cast these, hold on. You got two pieces that come together, see, to form the thing. Boom. There we go.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's,
yeah. And so if you go to my my Instagram or my Facebook, you can see either I have a video of soldering one of these things together so people can see that it's quite a bit of attention to detail. And then after you solder it, then you have to, you have to do a rough cut, right? You have to remove where the solder comes together, and make it to where that seam is no longer visible, right? And so then you have to kind of like treat it with different buffing products of different coarseness so that you can smooth it out real nice, and then you can buff it finally to a fine high shine. And but there's all kinds of processes that go on to make one of these things. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a long process. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, man, if this thing ever takes off, I'm screwed. I'm gonna be like
It's gonna be that same, man.
I'm gonna have to figure out how to scale up production, right? You know,
yeah.
that's
That's
the thing.
you know, because and I was looking at that the other day. I was looking at one of the videos that you made with the Mexican.
Yeah.
Buddhaguru, right? Which is,
Yeah.
And I was looking at, I was like, man, this is like all these details. This is not like this is a long process, right? So what if you got like, if you got like 50, an order of 50? That's it, man. That's gonna be how long is that process?
Well, no, but so I only sculpt the first one like that,
and then you're able to reproduce it.
Right.
Okay.
So like right now, back at the shop, there's 10 16 millimeter Buddha heads that are printing out on my 3D printer, right?
Okay.
It's best for me to keep that thing working, you know, so that I can, you know, when I actually start selling stuff, you know, and
well, I gotta tell you, I mean, I went into the site the other day, and it's there's some everybody. I mean, there's some really nice. You can tell that you put your heart to it. You know what I mean? Like you can tell, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, after, you know, I've been having the process that I was having with the awakening and everything. I used to never like anything like that, and now, you know, I do kind of like this is something that somebody gifted. Oh, you remember Robert, right?
We'll have to hook you up, man.
Yeah, no, right? No, but with like I have the one of Robert. I got this one that's kind of like a reminder of like space and time, right?
Which one was Robert? I didn't know Robert sold bracelets in the group.
Robert, remember Robert from the mastermind, with Lorelai, right?
Yeah.
So his wife does, and he made this for me when I was having some health issues.
Oh wow!
They're like some healing. You see it?
Healing Mojo.
Yeah, and I've been like, I love it. I've been wearing it, and then this is the other one that I got for like the remainder of space and time.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, you know, like being you know, like I try and keep all of my bracelets here. Can you see all these bracelets here?
Wow,
yeah. I try and keep all the stones very natural, and there's some that are very colorful. Like this blue one here is called Appetite. And this one is Prenite. Prenite's supposed to increase your intuition and precognition, you know, and you know, and there's all these crazy claims, but you know, like, where's this one? This is, I don't know if, let's see if Can you see how this one's kind of got like an opalescence to it? Mm-hmm. It's actually called labradorescence, you know, and the Inuit people believe that labradorite fell from the frozen fire of the aurora borealis, right? And they said that as such, it is the most magical of all the stones, right? And you know, and so I'm like, okay, well, these are a lot of claims, right? about this, you know, and but then, you know, and when you think about it a little bit, those natural stones, you know, they do form under certain energetic conditions. The temperatures and the chemicals have to all be right for that, for any type of particular stone that we recognize as unique to manifest, right? Yeah. So there's the energy that creates it, but then on top of that, I don't know if it's certainly impossible to say that it doesn't, and it's impossible to say that it does, right? Mm-hmm. But like the labradorescence of the apatite, I think that a lot of what happens insofar as energy and manifestation is that it actually comes into the body through the mind, through the eyes. Like we see something and it has a certain effect on us. Like for me, labradorite does make me think magical thoughts. It makes me feel a little bit better inside just to look at it, just the same way as looking at my little Happy Buddhas does, right? Yeah. And so I think a lot, and all of these beads do have very different physical, they look different, right? Mm-hmm. Lapis lazuli is always blue, you know, agate can be all kinds of different colors, you know, but at any rate, you know, I don't know how much I give all the, you know, there's definitely energies. I definitely agree that there's energies. Whether or not we can prove them or not scientifically, that's one thing. Whether or not there are other avenues through which these might affect us that are beyond what we currently think about in science or currently are capable of measuring, that's another thing, you know?
Yeah. And I also think like, like what I was going to say, it's like, I was looking at your stuff and I was thinking, this is something that I would pay for, right? I would pay this amount for that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was trying to get at. It's like,
somebody's got to start. I'm not selling anything right now, but.
Oh, yeah, no, but I was thinking, I was like, I've bought some of them that are, you know, that are, you know, obviously as well, like you got what you pay for, right? You know,
right.
So it's but I mean, I've gotten some that the next day I already can't wear it. You know what I mean? Or it's like, and you're like, what am I like? This is just a waste of money, or.
Right. Well, one of the things that if something doesn't work right or doesn't fit right, I'll definitely work with a customer to make it right and make it comfortable for them. You know, because you know, I definitely want sales to increase. It's got to, otherwise I'm going to go back to my corporate job. And and that's one of the things. I was listening to this lovely lady that started Spanx, her mastermind class. Not mastermind. It's masterclass.com. Have you checked that out?
Yeah.
And the lady who came up with Spanx, the CEO of it, I can't remember her name, but she's so lovely. And one of the things that she said is that our ability to proceed forward as an entrepreneur is going to be given by how well we can manage our thoughts. So because, you know, like, and she said that in the first year that she had come up with Spanx, she didn't tell anybody, because she knew that as soon as she started out with an idea towards someone, you know, somebody was going to come up to her and say, "Oh, honey, you know, you really shouldn't waste your time on that. You know, just keep your good job." You know, and you know, truth of the matter is, it's rare that people get to escape from the realm of the corporate life. Actually, no, it's not rare. I want to take that away. It's not as common. How about that? That's what I'll say.
And you know what? I also think like there's some people, like I have a corporate job, right? I have a corporate job.
I love my corporate job.
And I've also had companies, right? I mean, I think that there's my corporate job is in sales, right? And my companies have been in sales and marketing, that type of stuff. But I was the kid that when I was in 8th grade, right? Like 7th grade or 8th grade,
right.
I would sell. I was the kid that would record something on the radio, and I would sell the mixtapes, right, for $3 or whatever. In high school.
Got the hustle.
Exactly. I was that kid. I've always been that. You know what I mean? I've always been that kid, like that hustle kid.
I got the power.
Yeah, right. And then there's people like you. You got the talent. You know what I mean? Like you got that talent and you got that hustle too. So I also think that there's a lot of people that want to be entrepreneurs that aren't really cut out to be entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? Because not everybody can. It's not an easy thing to be an entrepreneur. Like you said, you got to work with your thoughts. You got to work with your patience. I mean, you got to have something. There's got to be like that. I really do think there's.
You know, it's funny. But when you're ready, I was at the Juice Maker Lounge. Our friend Tori Ruffin, he's a great guitarist. He plays guitar for Morris Day and the Time, and I'm a partial investor in his bar. And at any rate, I was over at the bar there, and this guy, I wish I could remember his name, but I told him what I was doing, and he said, "You know why you're doing this now?" And I said, and I just kind of gave him, he said, "Because you're ready." And he says, "You can't tell ready to quit." And you can't, you know, when you're ready, you can't tell ready to quit, man. Yeah. It's like I would, and it's funny too, because then like when things, when you don't make income and you want to be making income, right? And you start thinking, okay, well, damn, corporate job looks kind of nice right now. It'd be nice to have some money coming in, you know? And then something inside you says, no, man, keep on pressing. You know, do not give up. And that's one of the things is you never give up. What's that Winston Churchill quote? Did you ever hear about that? He gave a commencement speech and he comes out. And he says, never give up. Never, ever, ever give up. And he took off the stage. That's all he said, man.
That's the best speech ever, man. That's the best speech ever. You know, it's like did you see that interview with Steve Jobs and like it was Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and somebody else, right? When Steve Jobs was still alive, and it was like saying like it's any rational person, right? You have to be rational and a rational person to be like, because any rational person would just quit because it's hard. It's not a rational thing to do sometimes, right? It's like
right, no,
it's not. You gotta have to be irrational sometimes, right? And that's right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, it's the crazy ones that dare to believe. Yeah. It's the crazy ones that dare to believe that that they can actually change the world, that actually do.
That actually do. I love that. Yeah. But I got to tell you, man, I know that yours is going to take off because I was looking at it and I was like, I would pay for it. You know what I mean? It's like you see it and you're like, and especially if you're like what you're saying, you work with the customer, if for some reason they didn't fit, the fit isn't right or whatever, you know.
No, we want people to be happy, genuinely. Hey, Happybuddhaguru, we're here to screw you. No. So, you know, bringing it a little bit more full circle, we kind of went through the production, but, you know, as, you know, how I got to the name Happybuddhaguru was because I went looking for Happybuddha.com. And Happybuddha.com was taken by a Chinese food restaurant that's up in Jersey, right? And so I was like, damn, you know, and so, well, and then I looked for the Happybuddha.com, right? And that was available, but it didn't ring right.
Yeah.
I said, well, what is available? And so I went back to looking for Happy Buddha on, I think it was GoDaddy, and it comes up, and I didn't know it, but right before I did my search, 2 weeks before, as a matter of fact, I did my search, the .guru extension had just become available. Okay. And I was like, Happybuddha.guru? It's like, people are going to think you're Jesus or something. It's a little pretentious, but I was like, I like it. And then as I started working with it more and more, I decided, because it's funny, like I was selling T-shirts and it was late at night. I was at this club, and I was at the entrance of the club, and a couple people bought some T-shirts, and they said, "Man, we just want to thank you for what you're doing." And I was like, I felt like, did you ever hear about Jim Caviezel going to Mexico and like 20,000 people showing up to see Jesus?
No, oh, it was
well, we got the Oklahoma version of that up here. It's not about me, man. The idea is that you are the Happy Buddha guru of your life, right? Because if you're not, then who is, right? Like
reflection, right?
Imagine right now, Raphael, that you are the Happy Buddha guru for the world. You are now responsible for everybody's happiness. What do you actually have time for, right? Nobody. No, you can't take. Nobody can take that on, right? You have to be the Happy Buddha guru of your life. Exactly. And for me, what comes up is with the Dalai Lama, to paraphrase, he says that we are all alike. We are all human beings are similar, and that in that we all seek happiness and avoid suffering, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a beautiful thing that brings people together. We all want to be happy, and we all want to avoid suffering, right? And so how can we find more common ground, right? More common ground where we all can be happy. Where can we do that? How can we find it? And so bringing that about, that's what Happybuddhaguru is about, is that you have to figure out the ways of happiness and the causes of suffering. That's what the Dalai Lama talks about, and that's what Buddhism really is, And so I find that very helpful.
A lot about suffering, right? I mean, Buddhism talks a lot about suffering, right? And
oh yeah, one of the first four noble, the first of the four noble truths is everything is suffering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is to me it's amazing. It's so like it's if you think about it in a kind of like an ego way, or kind of like you think like, oh, everything is suffering, but at the same time it's just like
everything is suffering. Okay, cool. Like
until you're able to
to realize that. If you don't realize that, then you're so invested. You're going to be, happiness is hardly even possible.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love what you're doing. I love that this conversation that brought this, like what I didn't know that this was your take on it, but you're not just building it. You're building a reflection on your, for everyone, right? It's like you said, like sometimes you look at it during the day, you can look at it and say, and kind of like it makes your heart warm again, right? I guess it makes
it warms your heart
better, right?
It softens your spirit such that you're kind, and usually a bit more thoughtful, and there are people who are what do they call it? Neurologically atypical. They don't smile at all when they see this kind of thing, right? It doesn't move them at all. Probably not your product. Not my market. I need people that they're going to smile, and And for those people, let's hope that there's something else that makes them happy, right? That
Yeah.
will.
Yeah, definitely. And so now for people that I know that you know, you've shared this with us in the mastermind, but it's been amazing watching Nacho, like watching you going like that learning process last year.
Yeah.
I think when I met you last year, I can't even believe it was last year, right? It's almost gonna be a year that you know each other. But you I think you had just gotten that 3D printing machine, or you were also working with what was it, like a AutoCAD or something?
Rhino 3D.
Oh, Rhino 3D, right? And like,
yeah, it's a CAD program that allows me to do jewelry design.
Okay.
And that was Gary Dawson that I took that course with. And Rhino is it's like Nike uses Rhino, General Motors uses Rhino. There's architects that use Rhino. And it's a very powerful design tool. And so that Rhino is what I do. After I get that scan, I take that scan into Rhino, and then I'm able to hollow it out such that it will hang like, what are the things about, let's see if I can get it for the camera here. Yeah, he's looking at you. Okay.
A little to the side. Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
okay. So he's looking at you, and I go like this. And then, is he looking at you again? I can't see.
Oh yeah, he's always gonna balance this out. For people that are gonna be listening to this podcast and not actually, they don't actually see the video. What he's holding up right now is like he's got the, that's a bead, right? Like he's got
it's a pendant, and it's a pendant,
and it's looking.
Buddha bead is printed a little bit larger, and then I have a cord that runs through the center of it that goes around my neck. To in place of a chain, and it's very simple. We do just a simple slip knot on the back, and it's just a very simple, honest, very Zen presentation. But the pendant, Buddha's got a cord going through his ears, and whenever you spin him, he always comes up back and looks upright at you, you know, and that's made possible by Rhino, you know,
which is pretty cool for people that can't see it. If you can check out the video, it'll be awesome. But if you can't, it is super cool because he's always looking, he's always upright, no matter what happens.
Right. And, you know, and towards that end too, you know, I don't know if you can see it, but Buddha's ears, like if you look at my ears, when I first did the sculpture, I'm a sculptor, you know, I could look at you and your ears are sticking out. My ears stick out, right? Yeah. And so when you sculpt that, right, then what happens is
my ears are sticking out a little bit more than yours.
Yo soy muy orejón. I got big ears, yeah.
So do I.
But at any rate, on Buddha's ears, let's see if I can get him in here.
So a little bit to the side. Yeah, there we go.
So I had to actually change the design. So see how the back of the ear doesn't come out? It it stays flat with the guy. And then when I make a bracelet, I'll even take that, and because what happens is if you have beads, right?
Yeah, you got a nice collection of guitars back there.
Yes, I do.
You gotta show us.
I'll show those just as one moment.
People, while Nacho's looking for that, Nacho is an artist. People, I mean, he's a true artist. Like music, everything. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. I love being an artist. And but so like this one here, let's see, because of the way that I did the ears now, Buddha always faces outward, right? When I had it more anatomically correct, before I corrected the ears on the back, what would happen is you would always see the back of Buddha's head, because when you have an arch like this and you put something in it like this, your ears go like this. So Buddha would always look towards the person's wrist instead of away to where you could actually see his face, right?
Oh, okay.
Right. And so my friend Charlie, he says, yeah, man, hold on. Let me, where is it? There we go.
Oh, to the side, a little bit to the side.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Now I know where the camera's at. So my friend Charlie, this is what he would see all the time. He says, yeah, you got a pack of weenies all the time.
Yeah, 'cause you can't.
Yeah. So no, it's just
trial and error thing, right? That's like the trial.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. You should have product iteration to make and hopefully from what somebody might learn is that we're always trying to improve the product, right? Always trying to make the a new expression that like you can check out the new Mexican Buddha. He just looks like I don't know what his name is going to be. If somebody wants to suggest names after we post this, I would love to hear somebody's name suggestions for that Mexican Buddha. You can check him out on my Facebook or Instagram.
That would be super interesting. I would love to see that too. Like drop it in the comments too, guys, in YouTube.
Exactly. But yeah, we're always trying to improve the product and like the balance of the pendant, to where it faces outward, and then on the wrist, he's always going to be facing outward, so where you could see him, you don't see the pack of weenies.
Yeah.
Because I would have people post my product, they take a picture on their deal, and you see just the back of Buddha's head, and I was like, y'all aren't helping me, man.
And the church that you were selling, there was the Happybuddhaguru church that I saw, and you got caps too, right? Like
no, I don't have caps.
No?
I have t-shirts though. I do have
t-shirts. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let me grab one of those so they can see.
Yeah, because they're awesome designs too. I like the design in that. And you got a couple of guitars back there too.
So this is the Happybuddhaguru t-shirt. And when I first did this was it was meant as the design for the back of the pendant, okay. but the resolution of the output for the printer wouldn't allow us to it just didn't come out. It didn't print right.
It says HBG right in the back now. I think or what does it say
on the back of the t-shirt? Yes, the back of the t-shirt has an. Actually, no, this is the wrong one.
But in the back of the design, like in some of the jewelry, I've seen it, right? There you got
like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the HBG, and the Om symbol is in there if you can recognize it.
Yeah.
I started with the Om symbol, and like the Om symbol only has one dot right here, and you put two, and there's a little smiley face.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and and it's been a lot of work, and there's plenty of times when I've been, man, these pinche Buddhas. You get a little bit overwhelmed by what you feel is your calling, and but I think that's part of the process, I think that's part of the process.
And I gotta say also, like I think maybe that will be a good segue to like I mean, I don't think there is a segue in this one, because I mean you're you're doing it right, what your product, but it must help that you are spiritual, I would say, right? But it must help because you have that patience, and like and you've had something like there was one time I remember that you said something that your uncle said to you, and you shared it on the mastermind, and it just got me like at that point.
Oh no, it wasn't my uncle. It was my father-in-law.
Your father, your father-in-law, yeah.
Don Mott, yeah. Back when I was, he passed away, and I am no longer married, but Don, he was the one that had the very organized shop. Remember?
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah,
his shop was. I just couldn't believe somebody was that organized. Anybody was that organized. It was so amazing, the sense of organization that he had.
With all his tools, right? Because he had a bunch of tools, right?
It was out in his shop in his garage. And I said, Don, I said, what inspires you to be this way? It's remarkable. I said, but I was just wondering, why do you do this? What gives you the drive to be this organized? And he said, well, if you don't know you got it, you ain't got it. You're gonna be going to the store to go get it. And I was like, wow, yeah, you're right, And but then as after I had received that wisdom, which is really what it was.
Yeah.
It was just a real important piece of information, because it applies to like people might do a podcast, right? Mm-hmm. Might go out and teach other people what they know, right? Mm-hmm. But if they don't know that they've got it, they won't, right?
Yeah.
Right.
To me, it's tough because it's for everything, right? For everything that you do in life, or everything that you have, or anything, or that you are. If you don't know you got it, then you don't got it, right? It's like
you don't know you got it, you ain't got it.
Yeah, you ain't got it.
You're gonna be going to look for it.
Yeah, exactly. And and that's it. And who knows? You're gonna get stuck looking for it. I'm sorry about this. I got the light thing, but you'll get stuck looking for it, man. You'll get stuck, and you'll waste your how who knows how long or how much time you'll waste it looking for it. Right?
Yeah,
you got it.
You
have to look for it.
And a lot of times, whether or not you got it is simply a matter of declaration. There's a Zen saying that you can either be practicing to be a master or a master practicing. The choice is yours.
Yeah.
That was with regard to meditation.
Yeah.
And
can you talk to us a little bit about that, like on the, because I know you're a very spiritual.
Yeah. Well, so the malas that I make, matter of fact, let's just show you the one that I use every day. Okay, hold on. You still there, man?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got a low battery warning. Hold on. Let me grab this battery pack over here and plug myself in.
Yeah, no worries. That's what was happening to me with light too. So that's why I was like,
yeah. Hold on.
This is how this is gonna be, man. This is how this podcast is. It's not
right. So I'm sorry. What was it? Oh, we were talking about the malas and meditation. So it's been one of the things that I did was I made a bead, and then around the bead I have to attach something, and so this mala, this is labradorite and black onyx, and you could wear this thing, like if you wanted, you could wear it as a necklace. I don't choose to wear it as a necklace very often.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, never. I always wear it like this on my wrist. It goes 1, 2, 3. And what's cool about, there's, with all the beads on this one, there's 108 beads, right? And that's the number of beads on a standard Buddhist mala or rosary.
Okay.
Right? On the Catholic rosaries, like 5 decades of 10 beads, right?
10, right? Yeah.
And then I have another type that's only 54 beads, because it's a bigger bead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you start putting 108 of these together, all of a sudden, I don't know, you don't need the whole bead store on your wrist, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but the idea is that if you like this one, this one's really popular with guys. This black one, this is a faceted black onyx, and then it has the 9th bead. So if you take 9 times 6 is 54. That's how many beads are here. So every 9th bead is a different type of bead. Can you see the? Let's see.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah,
There's one shiny one there.
Yeah, I can see the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
for people that can't see it, like most of them are kind of like mate, right? And then there's like a shiny one. There's still black, but there's like it's a little bit more shiny. It's just that people are gonna hear this on the podcast.
Right.
Everybody's gonna see it.
So the idea is on the one with 100, you want to get 128 beads in total, and you could either go 54 twice, right? With our these are meant for meditation, right? And so you start with, you know, I tend to start my meditation by looking Buddha in the face, and it kind of warms your heart and gets you in a good space, right? And then you take a deep 6-second breath in and count to 6, and then, and I have found that if I like when you can count to 6 for the first couple of times, and what will happen is you'll notice that your chest gets to a certain place when you're up on the uptake of 6, right? And so then you can use that if you just keep the same breathing pace. You know, don't just. If you you can use your chest and the position of your chest and the tightness that you feel and how it feels at 6, to where you can stop counting and you can just, okay, boom. Then it's like you hit the bottom of the pool. I got to go back, right? And so, but if you take 6-second breath in and 6-second breath out, and you go around 128 beads, you will have spent 21 minutes and 48 seconds in meditation, right? And which is, you know, people want to do about 20 minutes of meditation. We'll take you a little bit further, right? Yeah. But you know, and if you just want to do half, or, you know, just 54 beads on this one, you'll have meditated for 10 minutes. Hey, some meditation is better than none, right? Yeah. And so
you can do that, and you can do that. You don't have to be sitting down, or you don't have to. I mean, you can be doing it in like if you're on a bus or whatever. If you're on a train,
yeah,
or
absolutely. I've been a little challenged myself. I don't know. I have tinnitus, ringing in the ears from being around loud equipment, and it can make your meditation a little challenging because you got this all going on all the time, right? And so being able to tune that out is something that, you know, one of the things that that guitar has taught me is tenacity, right? That that if you think you're like when you saw your friends drawing better than you and you were discouraged, right? Some people are discouraged, and some other people say, "Wow, I'm going to learn how to do that," right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it depends on whether you have an interest in something. But I have found that if you take things like in guitar, right? If you're able to go as relaxed as you possibly can, like let every tension go in your body, and then also very slow, right? Take a very relaxed and very slow, like for instance would be when you're doing a scale. You know, when you go very, very slowly and very relaxed, you learn what it is to do that motion in an effortless manner. But you're learning to do it slowly. And the thing is, we have this illusion that we should be able to do it like Jimi Hendrix or Steve Vai or somebody like that. You know, and so we become discouraged because we see people that are doing it so well. But the truth of the matter is, if you really want to do something, you just have to learn to continue and be tenacious and learn to do it slowly first, right? That's the key. Because I really think, myself personally, I think that some people like are, let's say, a music prodigy. People are music prodigies, I think in large part because they have something about them that doesn't inflame the muscles as much as others, right? And with that low inflammation, they just have a better muscular response. They're more relaxed, right? And I've noticed a lot of my really incredible musician friends, you go up to shake their hand and it's just like, wow, you know, is there anybody in there? Come on. You're like a curtain here, you know?
Yeah. It's not like we're taught, right? Like strong, whatever. Right? It's like,
right. Yeah. It's just very, very relaxed state of being, right?
yeah.
And I think was it Tim Ferriss? He refers to it as the med, or the minimum effective dose, right? That you want to learn the minimum to do something, to make something happen. And so if you repeat that very slowly, you know, that scale very slowly and very relaxed, all of a sudden, if you do it, anybody can be a badass at slow, right? And then once you become a badass and you totally remember how to be a badass at slow, and you can do it reliably and predictably, and nobody could ever take it away from you because it's just slow, right? Well, then you just speed it up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then you get that one, right?
Yeah.
And then once you got that one and nobody can take that one away from you, well, then you can try and speed it up a little bit more, you know, and you've learned the motion a lot better. And so look, man, and all of a sudden you're doing things that you couldn't ever even before believe that you could have done because of tension, you know. And that's the thing, is pretense. Like somebody looks at Steve Vai, you know, and then they want their guitar to sound like that, but they haven't put in the work for it, right? Yeah. So, but it's ego that causes us to have this idea, well, if he can do it, then I can do it too, right? And well, yes, you can, but it's going to take a while, right? But that there's a pretentiousness, a pretense, right? You think that you can do it, so all of a sudden then when you actually go to do it, you can't actually do it. You're making it up, but you're hiding that from yourself, and so then you have all this tension because you're like, you think you can, but you can't yet, you know, and so you have to let go of the pretense that you can, and learn how to do it right. Wax on, wax off, Daniel-san. You know, that's
wax on, wax off. Yeah, you just dropped so much wisdom and that couple minutes. Yeah, you know, like you were talking about Tim Ferriss. I saw an interview with and I read his book, The Art of Learning, with I think it's Josh Waitzkin. It's called. I don't know if you.
Yeah. I haven't read it, but I gave it to my son.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's an amazing book, and I don't know if he talks about it in the interview with Tim Ferriss, but in the book he says that it's the exact same thing. Like he was first when he was a kid, he was a chess champion, right? International.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That story of like Bobby Fischer. Remember that book, the story of Bobby Fischer? It was
Searching for Bobby Fischer. Yeah,
Searching for Bobby Fischer. It was based on his father wrote it, and then he left that and he went to martial arts. He went to Taekwondo. Was it Taekwondo? Tai Chi. I don't remember what Tai Chi, right?
It was a combative form of Tai Chi. Yeah.
Combative form of Tai Chi, and he was talking about that. That you know, if you want to learn a full kick or whatever, you don't just practice. You practice a small part of the kick, right? And then you practice that until you perfect it. And then if it takes a month, that's practicing that small part, and then you practice the other one, and then you keep on practicing it little bit by bit until you perfect it. And then when what you just said right now, before you know it, you can actually make the kick, right? You can throw the kick, but like what you were explaining with the guitar, you can actually play it, right? But you got to learn bit by bit, which is
yeah. And
now I know how you
And the reason that I believe that prodigies have something different about muscle relaxation is what happened to me January of last year. I took a keto course with Dr. Carolyn Flannery. She's an orthodontist, and she's retired from orthodontics. She's a brilliant lady, and she has a course where for $100 she teaches you over 7 weeks how to live the keto life, you know, and like you get in what do you call that?
Ketosis?
No. There's one of these apps where you can have chats with people, you know, like a group chat. I can't remember the name of the app, but at any rate, so you can ask questions of her anytime, night or day. And what happened was 2 weeks into the course, you know, I play guitar, right? You can see all my guitars back there.
Yeah, I didn't know you were. I didn't know you had so many guitars back there.
Right.
Yeah.
But so one of my songs that was kind of like my Lady Godiva, I just practiced it, but I didn't ever have the expectation of actually being able to play it, because you know, it was just too difficult, right? And there was a whole lot of resident tension in my body that I was unaware of, right? And 2 weeks into keto, with no sugars, no carbs, high quality diet, you know, heavy on fats, all of a sudden I pick up my guitar and I just bust right through the song, right? And look, I can do it now. You know, and before, my fingers just wouldn't do that. And I really think that because of the lack of inflammation from no sugars and no carbs, perhaps in ketosis, my brain was a lot more alert and responsive, and as was the rest of my neurology. So all of a sudden, I'm capable of much, much more than I was previously, because there was this tension that was no longer blocking me, right? I was blocking myself, but completely unaware of it. Yeah. Right. And so
you find that meditation helps you get out of that? Like meditation helps you deal with
that? Meditation does, and the, you know, keto diet definitely helped me too.
Yeah.
Hey, do you think we could take a break for 10 minutes?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, put it on pause and I'll be right back.
Okay, no worries.
I'll be right. Well, we'll hang out, and I'll be back in about.
We're live, 3. So I'm just gonna hang out. We're live. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hang out, and I'll probably just talk to myself here. I'll talk to you guys. I don't know if this is our 4th episode, and I've never actually even checked if anybody is watching it live, so maybe it gives me a check and see how it actually look. For people that are listening or that are tuning in, let me see. Yeah, I can actually see it. This is the first time I actually see the actual live part, because I'm always looking at the computer. But he was what Nacho was talking about. Man, that's a whole lot of wisdom right there, what he was saying, because it's also.
I'm back.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, you're fine. You're fine. I was gonna say what you were talking about. Not just, you know, it was the. You know, we were talking about like that going it bit by bit, but you also went into it's kind of like that you know, the diet, the keto diet, and you know how not the sugars and all of that. It really does make a difference. You never notice until you actually feel it, and you're like, holy
you know. Yesterday, so night before last, I went out with a buddy of mine, and I had a burger and fries. Right, I don't ever eat like that, and then I had like 2 vodkas and a glass of wine. Right.
Okay.
And wasn't a heavy, you know, I don't drink heavy at all, really. But then the next day, I'm feeling bad. Right.
Yeah.
And then it was so funny because I have that card. I've got a card where I ran in. I bought it, you know, at a bookstore the other day, and it's kind of funny. I feel like I'm a very like accidental Buddhist. I really just like the happy face, you know. But because of like just I've gotten into it a little bit, and you start learning more and more about Buddhism, and it's been kind of accidental. But one of the things that I learned recently was about the 5 precepts, and one of the precept number 5 is that you don't want to take in intoxicants, something that's going to stay free of drugs and intoxicants, right? Mm-hmm. And here I had some intoxicants, and then the next day I'm all depressed. I was really like, yesterday I was like, oh man, I don't feel Happy Buddha at all today.
Well, it really does take from your energy, right? It does take, like it takes.
It splays you out, and the older you get, the more you feel it, right?
Yeah,
and
no, definitely, right. It's
and the cleaner you are, like if you're in ketosis and then you go and you eat a meal like that, all of a sudden it's like, oof. Mm-hmm. You pay for it, you can do it, but you end up paying for it.
Yeah, it happened to me. Happened to me the other day. I got into a plant-based plant-based diet. I was doing it for like a month and a half, but I stopped because it's like I think it works when you have the time and you can actually go to a farmer's market and get the ingredients.
Right. It's wonderful.
And it's an awesome diet. But to me, it was like I work. I'm out in the field a lot, and then it's like I hadn't gotten to. Honestly, I hadn't been to a Burger King in like 6 years. And I worked at Burger King when I was a kid, right? When I was in college. And I love Burger King.
They have good coffee, man. My dad hooked me up to that. If you want to go get fast food coffee, go to Burger King.
Oh, really? That's good to know. That's good to know. Because I hadn't been in like 6 years. I really hadn't, like in like 6 years. So I didn't even know about the coffee. I just hadn't been. And then out of nowhere, now I'm doing this plant-based diet, and like I'm in the field, and there's Burger King has this Impossible Whopper thing, and before I know it, in like 3 weeks, I went to Burger King like 10 times, and I'm like, no, like I'm not eating healthy. This is not helping me out. Like it's not. I'm going back to eating meat, but at least I'm actually eating food, right? Like real food.
Right.
But in the beginning, this.
Hey, well, you know what? When your garage sale broke, you know what you do? You get the $1 muchacho at Taco Bueno almost every time. Oh my gosh, what a suicidal meal, man. That's what you do when you're at a garage sale, bro.
Well, you're from San Antonio, so like I'm living in San Antonio now. Taco Cabana, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got this Beyond Meat thing, like
Really?
It's I really like it.
So you're in a plant-based diet?
Well, I can't say that I'm in a plant-based diet now because I'm in a. What I do is if I'm in a position where I don't eat meat, then I don't eat meat. But if it's between an Impossible Burger or an actual healthier plate, you know what I mean, like something healthier. Then I'm into a non-processed food. I'm trying to get non-processed food diet.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I tell people that I'm vegan except for when I eat meat.
Exactly. That's what I'm in a plant. I'm a plant-based diet except when I eat meat. Yeah. But I was gonna say, now that you went into Buddhism, I don't think you've noticed how much you've helped me throughout this last year.
I'm glad to hear that. I didn't know though. Thank you. That's good. Thank you for telling me.
No, yeah, I really do, and I mean it, because like and it's always come in these moments. Like you drop a line.
Right? Get in there.
Like at that moment, right? And I remember when I thought I was going crazy because I was like when the spiritual. I don't know if you remember the spiritual awakening.
Yeah, I remember.
I was seeing things there. I'm like. And I thought I was going crazy. I'm feeling all this energy and the trees and everything. And I thought I was, and you put me into, you talked to me about Matthew Ricard.
Ricard, yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it? Matthew Ricard, and compassion. And I started looking into it, like, and then I saw an interview where they're in an interview with it's Eckhart Tolle, which I was following a lot, right? So,
yeah.
Matthew Ricard and Dalai Lama, and it really your suggestion. Like I never heard of Matthew Ricard before, and like it just got me through this through this kind of like path where it really helped me kind of like be
Yeah.
grounded, right?
I think the other thing too about that I love about Matthew Ricard is that kind of like indignant French. Like you can kind of, he's not indignant at all, but he has, but because he was raised French, you can't help but have this like, I don't, he has he puts things away. I don't know how to describe it, but he's just got a way about it that's very French, and I like the way that he has all the compassion, patience, and but inside of a French framework, right? So it's really cool.
Yeah, and he's how long have you been in, like, are you and I'm like, how long have you been following like Matthew Ricard and like
I would say that I got into Matthew Ricard probably maybe 3 to 5 years ago. I can't really say how long ago it was that I first started really resonating with him. But yeah, he really I think in between him and the Dalai Lama and Thich Nhat Hanh,
yeah,
I really feel like well taken care of. Those are my mentors, whether they know it or not.
Yeah, I know, and yeah, they're amazing mentors. Yeah, I started going down this YouTube rabbit hole, I guess.
It's real easy to do, right?
They're just it hits some of the things just hit
so
you,
wise,
right?
so
yeah, that's what it is. It's like wisdom, right?
It's real, and it's earthy, relatable wisdom. It's kind of like, yeah, that's what my grandma would say. The Dalai Lama has that way of making it like, oh yeah, of course,
Yeah,
and it's I think it's again, I've learned so much through the guitar, and one of the things that I've learned is to I don't know if I want to. You just have to let it flow, release, and let the muse speak. I forgot where I was going with that one. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but you know what you were talking about it's like something like your grandfathers would say, or it is. It's like it's very simple, and sometimes the Dalai Lama is like what Eckhart Tolle says in one of his interviews. He's like, and then they ask the Dalai Lama something, he says, "I don't know."
Right.
Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
And then I don't know whether he'll just give the best answer ever, but he'll start it with, "I don't know," right? Like it's just it's simple, but it's like it's there, right? It's
right. Well, so when you release to the muse, right, and in music, if you start grooving with the people around you, right, you take on a different energetic state, right? Something that you didn't know was available all of a sudden becomes available because you're in a different energy, right? And like two of my favorite musicians that I think develop a very different energy for the listener is Prince and Justin Timberlake, right? There's both of them have this that they make you feel cooler than you are, right? Just by listening to them, right? And it's that energetic state, right? Yeah. To be able to change your state like that. That's what the Dalai Lama and Matthew Ricard and Thich Nhat Hanh, they're in a different energetic state than we are most of the time, right? And they've devoted themselves fully. I'm getting my head around it, but I just read a book at Ryan Holiday's recommendation. It was one on his reading list. Buddha, I think it's Karen Armstrong, and like if you didn't completely devote yourself to it, you don't really have a chance at realizing the highest I don't know, fully realizing your Buddhahood,
Mhm.
unless you do like Buddha and leave everything, right?
Yeah, surrender. That's that
And,
surrender.
me, myself, I've got grandbabies and I'm not leaving them for anything. And I'm very happy with my life, but I'm trying to learn as much as I can,
Yeah.
I can't learn everything, but I can learn what I can, right?
Yeah.
And so let's learn that, right?
Yeah, and that's I mean, that you can't say anything more truer than that, right? I mean,
okay, so I can't be Buddha, but I can learn what I can learn, and it's made me a lot better person,
and that's what I was gonna say. And you can be that person. It's not just learning it, right? You can be it.
You
And
can,
I think,
and being
honestly,
it is the energy, and a lot of times we're so stuck in a certain energetic state that we can't release to the new one, right?
yeah,
And that's that pretense. That's that going on the keto diet, and all of a sudden something else is available. There's a lot of those breakthroughs that are just in energy,
and you keep on kind of like,
Yeah,
that's when
like in music, what you do to get closer to that energy and purify it in yourself is get around other people that are better players than you, right?
yeah.
And you get around better players than you, all of a sudden they pull you forward, whether you want it or not, because you go and watch someone who's masterful on a regular basis, and your sense of music is going to improve,
Mm-hmm.
And it can't help but, and that's why, the world is changing so fast, because kids are growing up watching Miles Davis and being able to hit rewind whenever they want to and hyper focus, and that's just part of their growing up existence now,
Yeah.
and any other musician that, and I remember seeing this little 11-year-old prodigy, and they asked him who he learns from the most. He said Miles.
Miles.
I was like, he's not even around, but that's his mentor, right?
Exactly.
YouTube has made a lot of wonderful things available.
I love YouTube. YouTube is awesome. YouTube. I mean, YouTube. Yeah, it really is. I mean, you don't actually. I mean, I'm not knocking it out. I mean, obviously,
it's the universe of ideas, is what it is. It's the universe of ideas.
It is, and you don't have to pay all that money to learn something. Now I don't know where, or go wake up on a Saturday at 7 a.m. to get another class to learn something. You can just go on YouTube and
but I again though, YouTubing is great, but getting around, like in the, like, let's say Rhino, or there's another program called ZBrush, right? And it's like a digital clay. And, I sit there and I watch the tutorials, but their interface is so different from all other programs that I literally feel like I'm in an alien cockpit and can't figure out where the controls are, right? Yeah. And I can sit and listen to the video and it tells you to do this, but I can't do that because I can't figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so different. And
what?
That's situations like that when difficulty is extremely high, it really behooves you to pay the money to get in someone's course and be able to interact directly with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, and that's necessary too. I mean, and not only that, just one person or a group, right? Like, I mean, like I met you through a mastermind, right? And
right.
It's like,
are you still with Lorelai?
Yeah.
Okay, so, very good. Tell everybody I said hello and I love them. Hey, Lorelai's mastermind. I love y'all.
Yeah. We miss you, man. We miss you. But it's you definitely just can't do it on your own. You can't just go on YouTube and just learn something and do it on your own. There's always got to be that interaction.
You can learn what you can, right?
You can learn what you can, and then there's always that interaction, right?
Right. And you know what? YouTube is awesome when your garage sale broke.
Yeah.
It's getting out of the garage sale broke mindset though. Like when you've been garage sale broke, it can have it can cause problems because it can, like my mom, and dad, they grew up in the post-depression era, right? Mm-hmm. And during the depression and post-depression era, and times were hard, man.
Yeah.
Times were real hard. And so mom wouldn't waste food ever, you know, para que no sea desperdicia. You know, she would say, she would always take all, you know, all the scraps that were viable and put them back and make sure that they were there for leftovers, you know, because, you know, the way she grew up, it might not be there next time. You know, you don't throw food away, right?
Exactly. Or you don't know when you're going to eat. You know,
right.
You don't know when you're going to have food again, right? Or whatever. So
and
everybody's on the same boat. I mean, back at that time, everybody was on the same boat. So it was like, yeah, you don't waste anything, right? Like, yeah, my grandparents were like that. I remember. But you know what I was gonna say? I don't want this to end without me saying this, because it came back to me when we were talking about Matthew Ricard and you were talking about the energy, the changes of energy, right? And getting from it. I think that's what I saw when I went online, saw your jewelry. You're talking about the reflection, right? We're talking about that's a reflection of yourself, and you kind of like, I think you kind of like felt that energy, right? You kind of like feel that. And you probably feel it through that, you know. I think I could feel it through the energy, through the pictures that I was looking at.
No, it should do that. It's, you know, that you know, I'm simply mimicking what others have done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And although I think, you know, that New Mexican Buddha, that's cutting some new teeth.
Yeah. I never heard about it. When I saw it, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I never heard about this Mexican Buddha. This is I loved it.
Well, you know, that's the thing, is Buddha didn't want to be the Buddha. You know, he didn't want people to worship. You know, everyone has the possibility of being a Buddha, you know, and so that, and you know, the cool thing is Buddha was fully and only human, right?
Yeah.
And so if it's possible for him, it's possible for anybody.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Some people think he's a god, and he's not.
Yeah, no, Buddha did not take kindly to people trying to deify him. He did not. It was like, you know,
Yeah, no. He just reached that state of enlightenment, I guess, right? That is like,
right.
This.
He transcended samsara, which is the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth.
Yeah,
you know, and he transcended that. He had, so that's why there's 108 beads, is because Buddha supposedly had 108 incarnations, right? Until he transcended, right? And so people are like, well, how do they know that? No, they had good accountants, you know.
They had good accountants.
I don't know. I would love for somebody to tell me that. You know, I'm not trying to speak for Buddhism. I'm trying to just speak for human happiness. You know, that's
awesome. That is that. I mean, that if you take everything else out, that is Buddhism, right?
That's really Buddhism is the science of happiness. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So I really appreciate your time. I don't want to waste. I don't want to not waste. I don't want to disrespect. I want to respect your time, because I know that we're coming up here. I'm
good, man.
Okay.
So if we need to say goodbye because you got to get on and do something, we're good too.
No. I'm still good. I want to make sure that I respect your time, because I know that you're.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. But you know, going into that part of that state in that music, and that's a big part of your life. I know that that's a big part of your life too. Like, do you use it like do you kind of like use that same muse that you were talking about when you're doing the jewelry, or like or
you know, I would say that the muse first came to me when I was doing sculpture as a kid, you know, and art as a child. I would just get completely lost in doing my artwork. And music was something that did not come naturally to me, and I really, you know, but it was something that I struggled for, you know, and yeah, it's definitely a big part of my life, insofar as the tinnitus is concerned, right? What I have found that so are you familiar with the rascado in in flamenco, the study of flamenco, which I don't pretend to be a flamenco purist or knowledgeable at all, but in flamenco, they have one of the fastest repetitive motions on the planet, and it's the rascado. Rascar is to scratch something, right?
Okay.
And the rascado, you're scratching the strings like this. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But when talk about having to let go of tension to progress, one of the things about the rascado is you can always improve it. You can always become more natural, lighter, faster. And with my tinnitus,
wow.
I find this very meditational. You know, that motion, sometimes I'll just and you know the meditation, you're going meditational and doing things over and over. It's very wax on, wax off, and then all of a sudden you find yourself being able to do things that you didn't think you could do at all. Like when I first came across the rascado, my friend Chris that made the other guitar, I saw him do it, and I was like, oh, there's no way in hell I could ever do that, right? And he said, okay, this is how you do it. You start, and you really, the more you try and do that fast, right, the more you're going to screw yourself. It's too complex of emotion, right? You have to break it down and do it slow and relaxed as possible, like Tai Chi, right? Mm-hmm. And if you do it slow and look at what you're doing. I remember that was a big breakthrough for me with Chris, was like, because everybody wants to be like Jimi Hendrix and play the guitar looking up, you know, all passionate and stuff, you know, and that's not how you learn. That's not how you learn. That's after you've mastered it, that's what you can do, right? But that's not how you learn at all.
That's a perfect example. That's a perfect example of what you're talking about, and what's on that book with Josh Payton, that's The Art of Learning, right? That's a perfect example of just one step at a time, one small step at a time, a little bit.
Yeah, learning. The average flamenco student requires 25,000 passes to be able, and that's just like, wow. Then you can walk, right? Not like you can run or pivot or dance, right?
Exactly.
Like when a baby first learns to walk, and my little Parker, she's got a year and a half now, I think. And she's still like, you know, she's got this real stumbly, you know, I hope I don't fall when I'm running type of, you know, you're like, hey, hold on there. You know, you always wonder not to fall, right? And she's been walking for quite some time, right? Yeah. But she's still getting better at it all the time, right? And it's that kind of dedication that allows people to run fluidly and win Olympics, right? It is, you know, but for some reason, we tune out of the dedication to learning, right? Mm-hmm. We think, oh, it's not possible for me, right? Yeah. As soon as that comes in, as soon as that thought comes in, unless you counter it strongly with evidence, it'll run you.
Yeah. You know, I don't know why I think we get to a point where we think we know it. I think we think we're done. Sometimes, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think some people get to a point where it's like they think that whatever they've done to that point, I mean,
we all they can do.
That's it, right? And then it's like, and
it's common, but I don't think I think the case for people continuing to learn later in life and changing your career and learning how to be a jeweler or learning a CAD program, learning how to play guitar, it's all possible. right?
Yeah.
It's just, what do you want to do? Do you have, and
I think it's also like what you're talking about. You're talking about things that you're passionate about, right? And it's like, I think I read something the other day on Facebook, one of these memes or something. I don't remember. I think it was my cousin, the one that was on this podcast in the beginning,
right?
Podcast, right, Gibran. It's like society. It says something. I'm not gonna be able to quote it, but it says something like, society has us feeling like we can't do anything, like we're wasting our time off if we're doing something that's not for like making money, right? Like a lot of people feel like they can't just do something just to do something because they're passionate about it, and it's not like making money.
I really think
yeah,
it's like, well, no one's gonna pay me for that. Not right away.
Like
if you want to learn to play the guitar and be a guitarist, no one's gonna pay you to play when you first start learning.
Exactly.
No one ever, and you have to show dedication. Then you have to get competent. Then you have to master, and then you can, then people pay, You
have to enjoy that, and you have to enjoy doing that at every point, like every
right.
moment. Because if you don't, like I don't play music, but from what you're telling me, imagine that you didn't like music, like you didn't like playing the guitar. There's no way that you're gonna have more tension, right? You're
right.
not gonna be able to get that loose.
And here's, what I struggle with is, I actually still struggle a bit with putting myself out in the world as a musician, right? I'm very, there's what they call an introverted musician, right? You learn how to play, but you don't actually go out and express it in the world, right? And I've been finding more and more opportunities to get out there. But I thought of a story. I haven't quite put it all together, and maybe after this story we'll call it quits because I'm gonna have to run. But the idea was that, imagine if you were like me, being an introverted musician and having too much anxiety. Like when I would go and when I used to perform a lot when I was younger, I would throw up before every performance, right? And so I stopped because I was like, this is too stressful, man. And then I found out that Elvis threw up before every performance, and Henry Fonda used to throw up before every one of his Broadway performances. And I was like, wow, why didn't anybody tell me, right? And so in what was I going to say about that? We were talking about anxiety.
We were talking about learning, like to keep on learning, and you have to like what you do, because if you don't like it, you're gonna get more tension.
Oh, okay. No, I was talking about a story, and so I thought about an angel that had my situation going on. He was an introverted musician, but he was the guitarist in heaven, right? At the band in heaven, he's the guitarist, right? Nice. And he's got eternity.
Yeah.
And he's throwing up every day, right? Do you want to throw up every day for eternity, or do you want to let go and get a new energy state about it?
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. You see that? You see what you just did? This is what I'm talking about, brother. This is what I'm talking about. Every time I talk to you, you drop something like this. This is amazing. Do you wanna keep throwing up for the rest of eternity and just let go, right?
Right.
Get an energy state and just let go and do it, right?
Yeah, it's just like, okay, when are you going to be comfortable? When are you going to own it? When are you going to say, this is mine? I'm not performing for others. I'm providing something for others. That, and I think that's going to be true whether you're playing music or whether you're doing podcasts or whether you're performing well at your job. It's all the same thing. It's a process of maturity and owning things and take it to the next level.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, that I really do want to call it. We can't finish on a better note. I think I can't imagine finishing on a better note than this. But man, I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank
how
you,
you're
brother.
showing
Appreciate
up.
Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's quite an honor. I appreciate that you even thought of me.
No, thank you. And people, Happybuddhaguru, Happybuddha.guru, right? And
yeah, check us out on Instagram and on Etsy.
Yeah. And everybody else, you got a new phrase now. Garage sale broke, right?
Happybuddhaguru.
See you, brother. Thank
Later,
you.
brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.